Sin Archbishop of Sloth, Petelgeuse Romanee-Conti. Petelgeuse Romanee-Conti, Sin Archbishop of Sloth, is one of the earliest archbishops to appear in the series. He is the co-founder of the witch cult and also the former leader of Moderate Faction. He had spent 4 centuries as one of the highest-ranking members of these organizations, working tirelessly to fulfill their goals. Due to his efforts, he was also given the title of an archbishop early on, but it still took him 3 centuries to actually receive a witch factor. Petelgeuse is more commonly known as Juice among his followers. Before he became a full-fledged archbishop, he was a very kind-hearted soul who respected everyone and worked for the welfare of his people. It's said that he was also acquainted with Echidna, the witch of greed, and at moments, he also acted as Beatrice's teacher. Though his contributions led him to receive the title of an archbishop when he was bestowed the witch factor of Sloth, he turned out to be incompatible. This is why he spent most of his time as an archbishop without representing any mortal sin. The century before our main story with Subaru begins, Petelgeuse used to work at Elor Forest, a place that is very dear to him. He used to carry out different tasks for the elves there. He was also regarded as the guardian of seal because he regularly checked upon a mysterious artifact that was sealed in the forest. He loved and cherished everyone in this forest, but this moment didn't last, as the forest soon came under attack by another 2 witch cult members, Vainglory and Greed. Greed led the radical faction, an aggressive force that supported personal power over the well-being of people, while Vainglory led one of the 3 great beasts, the Black Serpent. The situation was too much for the elves of Elor Forest to handle. To help them out, Petelgeuse forcefully took in the witch factor of Sloth, which allowed him to stand his ground and stall the intruders for some time. However, not long after, the Witch of Vainglory also overpowered him. The witch forced Petelgeuse to take the life of one person he loved the most, Fortuna. This action caused him unbearable pain. His mind completely shattered and he was left in a permanent state of madness as we know him today. The witch factor of Sloth gives Petelgeuse 3 unique skills. An unseen hand that basically gives him telekinetic powers to attack his target, a sloth skill that induces hallucinations into his opponent's minds and slowly drives them crazy, and lastly, Ui Dana, a magic ability that allows him to manipulate Earth. After working for 3 centuries under the witch cult and 1 century as a complete madman, Petelgeuse was finally defeated by Natsuki Subaru and his sloth subjugation force. After his main body was destroyed by Julius, Subaru also defeated his spirit. By doing this, Subaru inherited the witch factor of Sloth. Sin Archbishop of Wrath, Sirius Romanee-Conti. Sirius Romanee-Conti, Sin Archbishop of Wrath. She is the physically strongest out of all the Sin Archbishops. She uses chains to fight and also moves near the speed of sound. Her authority allows her to link people's senses and emotions, which she can use to share damage between herself and other people. She can use this authority to mind control people as well. She can force them to feel the same way she does and force her emotions onto them. Anyone linked together will share fatal wounds once one of them is wounded. Therefore, if she wants to kill a group of people, she just has to link all of them and kill only one of them. On top of all of these, she also has strong fire magic in her arsenal. Alongside Archbishop of Sloth Petelgeuse and Archbishop of Greed Regulus, Sirius is one of the 3 archbishops to have an inhuman lifespan. Although not much of her past is known, it has been revealed that her hometown was destroyed by witch hunters. She has a very strong obsession with Petelgeuse, making her and Petelgeuse the only 2 archbishops who don't antagonize each other except for the Gluttony siblings. A lot of her time was spent stalking Petelgeuse. She wanted to earn his affection even though Petelgeuse didn't show any similar feelings for her. One thing both of them had in common was that they both were completely insane. They barely had a grasp on reality and lived life like a madman. She was so obsessed with Petelgeuse that she even viewed the Witch of Envy as a love rival instead of a deity. It is very dangerous to face her, as you have to counter her abilities before you damage her. Her ability spreads uncontrollably, to the point that even innocent bystanders can get caught in the battle. During the Battle of Pristella, Sirius met Subaru and thought it was Petelgeuse's new body. This is because Subaru at the time had absorbed the witch factor of Sloth. During their multiple encounters, Sirius refused to believe that he wasn't Petelgeuse, but after further investigation, she came to realize that he, in fact, is a different person. Despite that, she still believes that the sloth factor lying deep inside him is still waiting to emerge. Stride Vakya, the crown prince of the sacred Vakya Empire and the Sin Archbishop of Pride. He was a prominent villain in Wilhelm's backstory, but he was not present by the time our main story began. Unlike the other archbishops, Stride Pride is the only one who never demonstrated his Pride authority. He never showed any special characteristics that a Sin Archbishop would behold. Instead, he used a set of 10 cursed rings to fight. These rings could inflict different curses on people based on what effect they contain. He also had his own subordinates who supported him in his battles. These included the twins Shinobi Raizo and Shasuke, War God Kurgan and his wife Melinda. Being the crown prince of the Vakya Empire, he was the next in line for the throne, but he was poisoned and betrayed by his father who didn't want him to succeed his throne. After surviving this assassination attempt, Stride joined the witch cult and eventually received the witch factor of Pride. As the Archbishop of Pride, he always looked down on others and had huge pride in himself. He didn't care about the Witch of Envy's goal, but he only joined the cult so he could fulfill his own desires. Before our main storyline began, Natsuki Subaru was transported to Lugnica. Stride underwent multiple attempts to overthrow the kingdom. He even summoned a divine dragon. During these attacks, he met Wilhelm, a strong swordsman and an unparalleled warrior who soon became his arch-enemy. During one of his campaigns to destroy the kingdom, he summoned the black dragon Valgren in hopes it would decimate everything. The dragon could not fulfill his purpose and devoured him instead. After his death, the witch factor of Pride remained untouched and its seat still stays vacant in the witch cult. Capella Emerada Lugnica, Sin Archbishop of Lust. Her lust authority allows her to turn any organic being she touches into whatever insect or anime she desires. This includes herself as well, as we have seen her transform into a little girl, a black dragon, and even into a doppelganger of Amelia. She can use these powers to regenerate any part of her body and also regenerate herself from any small part of her body subsequently. She displayed this ability when Al was able to cut off her head during their battle and she effortlessly healed back up. Even crushing her heart wasn't enough. Her authority can offensively turn anyone she touches into whatever she wants. This is a really terrifying ability, as she was able to transform people into various creatures or even leave them as unrecognizable lumps of flesh. This also means that the people who lost their consciousness can't be turned back unless she willingly does so or is defeated. Capella is a very mysterious archbishop, mainly because we have no info on her past or why she has this behavior, nor do we know her original appearance. Her current appearance is of gold hair and red eyes, but there's no confirmation as to whether this is her real form and what exactly her age or key characteristics are. She has one of the worst personalities among the archbishops and antagonizes everyone else in the cult. She speaks in an insulting tone towards everyone and believes that all love should be directed towards her alone. She made her appearance during the Battle of Priestella alongside other archbishops, where she faced Al in a duel and ultimately lost. She eventually fled away after the witch cult's defeat, but her authority left a lot of marks in the capital, causing many people to be stuck in unwanted forms or even worse, lumps of flesh. Roy Alfard, one of the 3 Sin Archbishops of Gluttony and the first one of them to make an appearance. Roy and his 2 siblings all together constitute the Archbishop of Gluttony. Unlike his brother and sister, Roy is the gluttonous one. He doesn't care what or who he eats with. He has a bizarre eating style and doesn't think much of whatever enters his mouth. He emphasizes quantity over quality, as we have seen him eat Julius and only remark that he has a bland taste while devouring him. Ley describes him as a thoughtless brother who just wants to eat. This is also the reason he is constantly criticized by his siblings, but he doesn't care much and still cherishes them. Ley and Roy's authority of gluttony allows them to eat a person's memories of existence. To activate this authority, all they have to do is learn someone's name, touch their hand, and then lick them. Doing this can make everyone forget about that person or give that person amnesia, or even do both of these things. This will render the target into a vegetable-like state and make it so everyone else forgets about them. Furthermore, they can also gain knowledge, skills, or abilities that a person had excluding spirit contract. By doing this, they have gained thousands of abilities over the last hundreds of years. This includes Leaper skill, which allows them to teleport through space, ice magic, and palm or fist king like the unseenable hand of Sloth. Roy's combat style is ruthless, as he doesn't care about fair play. He exploits his opponent's weaknesses and doesn't give them a chance at all. He views fights as nothing more than a way to get his meals. During the Battle of Priestella, he eats Julius's name, causing everyone except Subaru to forget about him. Later, he was caught in a trap while trying to eat Reed Estrella. While he did manage to barely escape, the damage done to his body was fatal, and he was soon captured and sealed using yin magic. Ley Batenkaitos, brother of Roy and the second Archbishop of Gluttony. Unlike his brother, Ley represents the gourmet aspect of gluttony. He doesn't care about the people. Instead, he wants to consume as many humans and memories as he can. He has a very versatile and unpredictable fighting style, as he has a lot of martial arts skills and abilities piled up. It is impossible to predict what's coming. Additionally, he is also known as the most skilled martial artist among all the Sin Archbishops. Ley has a special skill that allows him to take the appearance of anyone he has eaten. He can also take their physical attributes and combine them all into a single body. He very rarely uses this ability, as he thinks that doing so will harm his individuality. But when he does, he morphs into an amalgamation of multiple victims and makes use of their skills in such a way that he turns into the ultimate martial artist. Ley is also the one who controlled the white whale during the first witch cult's attack. He considered the whale his pet and was very fond of it, which is why when the whale was defeated, he went to retrieve its body and devoured Rem's named there. Not much is known about the Gluttony siblings' exact age, but it can be said that they aren't that old, as all of the siblings have the appearance of an immature youth. After eating Rem's memories and name, Ley unknowingly grew obsessed with Subaru. This led him to develop a goal to devour Subaru's name and memories as well. During the Battle of Priestella, Ley was confronted by Ram, Rem's older sister. They both had a very brutal fight. The fight led to the conclusion of Ley's growing obsession with Ram as well. Hence, he wanted to obtain her name and memories at all cost. So he threw away all the other names and memories in hopes of taking hers alone. But once he did that, he was promptly beheaded by Ram. On his defeat, his victims were able to regain their names and memories. Rui Arneb, the last of the three Archbishops of Gluttony and the only sister. She represents the aspect of satiation. Rui is a spiritual being. She doesn't have a physical body and is apparently trapped inside the corridor of memories. Just like Ley, she doesn't care much about humans. Instead, she just wants to consume names and memories. Her authority functions the same way Ley's and Roy's do. She has an extra ability to split herself and inherit someone else's body. This ability also splits her witch factor as the body outside gets the other half. Rui initially gives off the impression of being a loving sister who cherishes both her brothers, but later we find out that she finds them idiotic for living their lives the way they did. She thinks that her life is unfair because she doesn't have the ability to choose what situations to get to live in. She mentions that she wants to find a body that will satisfy her and let her live with pride. This is when she comes across Subaru. When she finds out that he can return by death, her obsession grows even stronger and wants to eat Subaru's memories and inherit his body, becoming the only person in existence to have experienced the taste of death. However, she is ultimately defeated by Subaru and left for dead, but it is soon revealed that she actually survived and actually got amnesia herself because when she entered Subaru's soul, she got traumatized by experiencing Subaru's return by death ability. This caused her to become mind-broken and revert into a childlike state. Regulus Corneas, the most powerful Sin Archbishop, the holder of the witch factor of greed. Regulus is one of the most formidable characters in the entire Rezero verse. His authority of greed allows him to control time in and around his body. His powers are divided into two different abilities. The first one being Lion's Heart, which allows him to separate his flow of time from that of the world around him. This renders him immune to any change happening in the world around him. He can still be moved or pushed during this ability's usage, but he can't be harmed. The other ability is Stillness. By using this ability, he can separate the flow of time of whatever living or non-living object he touches. This allows him to separate the time between himself and the object he is touching from the outside world, but they both can interfere with each other and the world. He can choose what forces interact with this object, like gravity or inertia. Applying this effect to sand or wind can let him make invisible blades of air that can cut through anything. This ability is also the reason for his inhuman longevity. This time difference ability allows him to never truly age and live for over 100 years. He is a man who cares very little for other people. He doesn't like anyone contradicting him. He will murder anyone if he feels any sort of disobedience from them. But despite his personality, he is devoted to the Witch of Envy and follows the gospel unquestionably. He is quite known for the atrocities he has committed in the world of Rezero. One of his most known campaigns was that of Elor Forest. His influence during these attacks resulted in the death of thousands of people. It was this single event that made the world afraid of the witch cult. Regulus made his first appearance intercepting the dragon carriage carriage that was carrying the white whale's body back to the capital. Accompanied by fellow Archbishop Ley, Regulus was able to decimate a good portion of this convoy. He was the reason Crush was crippled and Rem's name was eaten. He was finally defeated in the city of Priestella by Subaru and Reinhardt, but that was only possible because Subaru was able to find out about his weakness in one of his previous runs. Without this knowledge, it would be impossible for anyone to defeat him. The only other character that comes close to this ability is Satella, but that fight could also come up as a stalemate. The final blow was delivered by Reinhardt as he lunged him into the streets of the city, shredding him with his sheer speed and force. He was drowned when the water nearby flooded the area where he was defeated. After his defeat, Subaru inherited the witch factor of greed.